Alright, welcome everyone. So, for those that don't know, this is the pre-show. We generally chat, just kind of have fun, and cover some interesting topics. It is generally a quieter, overall, not crazy show. Tonight we do have some interesting topics, which will cover a variety of different things, actually. Talking about the problems in the game. Obviously, it's not in the state that anybody would like it in. The economy's going to hell. The several parts of the content are either blocked by bugs or bugged to the point where they've been turned off. Um, so there's definitely stuff to talk about. I think McLeod is on his way. Um, Skull. First time viewer. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. So, for those that don't know, New World Order show is uh, basically we're a show devoted to, at the moment, New World. Eventually, we'll be branching out into other content. But for the last year and almost 11 months, we've been creating a regular podcast for New World, specific to the content within it. McLeod and I have been involved in the alpha since early Alpha 1. We've been involved in the community, pretty much the entire time, and we look forward to, obviously, like this event for us because we've been as involved as we have been. The launch of this game has obviously been really personal. Um, you know, so like this is definitely a fun experience for us because McLeod and I of course are not developers, but we are content creators, and we come from a background playing EVE Online and other MMOs. I played EverQuest, I played a little bit of WoW. Nothing insane, but at the same time, we had a lot to add. Um, I can point, at least in my head, without breaking the NDA, to mechanics that I feel like I had a you know, direct participation in developing, um, and I'm really happy about that. Like I'm really happy that I felt that the voice of the community has been heard over a long time. I think most people have had that opportunity to see the content, see the way that Amazon is choosing to communicate with the community. They've been for the most part open and honest. I think that their communication could use some additional um, refinement. Um, but at the same time, I think that you know, as with any new studio, there are problems like that going to happen. Um, and actually to go off Mercy17 in chat here, can we do something against toxicity and offensive behavior on the Polish servers? I think that's a problem that is not just specific to in-game. For those that don't know, I'm also one of the Reddit moderators. Um, it's been a significant challenge for us. We went from a community of 25,000 people to a community of 295, and we're closing in on our 300,000 marker. You the number of people that have come out of the woodworks is absolutely insane. Is this an official AGS stream? No, but we are part of the Amazon Content Creator Program. So you can see stuff in the background that was given to us by Amazon, and of course some of the assets that you'll see in stream in terms of the transitions and starting screens and stuff like that were of course provided by Amazon Game Studio, but we are in fact our own people. And in an effort, because this has come up in an effort to ensure people understand that we are critical. We don't aim to sugarcoat everything. That obviously we run a stream that is specific to New World. We run content that is specific to New World. So there has to be a level of passion, and there has to be a level of actually enjoying what we do. Um, and I know that makes it through on the stream. That said, I think that oftentimes, because of the nature of of my job, for those that don't know, I'm a bureaucrat. I 40 hours a week. I'm 9 to 5 working as a government person. I won't go into exactly what I do, but functionally speaking, my feedback and things like that are all kind of built from the perspective of building coalitions. So when I talk about problems, I also talk about solutions, which often confuses people. It very often confuses people. So I'm also not the type to just spit vitriol out there either. So that's one of the other things that oftentimes confuses people, because both me and McLeod are just not the types to openly cause drama for drama's sake. That's not our goal in any means. And I believe McLeod's joining us now.
We both come from we both enjoyed but tolerated communities from other games where you could say it was exceptionally partisan and insanely tribal. So like it's one of the things that I actually didn't really enjoy about EVE Online, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'm not really down for that kind of stuff. Although
Yeah.
I understand like the reasons why some people enjoy that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And hi, by the way.
Yeah. So actually, one of the things I actually want to talk about, I can answer the question from chat first here. Do you know if there's any more
Oh yeah, yeah.
content can be added after level 60? There is. There's currently zones in works. So there's a couple of things here. So once you hit level 60, in my opinion, you should get busier. Like all of my level 60s are substantially more busy now than they were when they were leveling. Because you're trying to get into invasions, you're trying to get into wars, you're trying to get your watermark increased, which is based on your gear score, random chance of increasing the max gear score drop. You get that by farming high level enemies and high level content. Some of the game modes, unfortunately, right now are disabled. So like Outpost Rush is a level 60 exclusive event. You can't get into it otherwise. And as part of that, my camera is freaking out right now. Focus. Focus. Pull it together, camera. Come on. Uh, like those kind of things, there actually is a fair amount of grind left to do post 60. Not to mention the fact that you still have all of your different trade skills, refining skills, and harvesting skills that, not everybody... yeah, this camera is like all over the board right now. Like, I'm trying to sit still, and it's just having a field day with focus going on. Like, just stay on me. Uh, the gear score aspect is a big turnoff. I think it's definitely challenging. I don't know. There are other ways to get very high level gear score things. For instance, you can craft level 599 or 600 gear score. It is possible. You got to have a god roll to do it, and perfect skills, and and all that. But it is something that can be done. Um, I do want to talk about something that happened 2 weeks ago. Um, there is news on server transfers, actually. A lot of news. Um, late in the show,
Mm.
um, we're expecting Amazon to be consistent. And if Amazon is consistent, then later in the show we'll also get patch notes. But we do have a full Q&A from the developers on many of the common questions, as well as some good news for people who picked the wrong regions. Um, they are working on regional transfers, which will be a different system. But we do have news on server transfers itself. Actually, a fair amount of information. Um, but I want to go back and talk about what happened 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, during our pre-show, we discussed a clip of Asmongold, and this got us in a little bit of heat, and rightfully so. Neither McLeod or I are avid followers of Asmongold. We know that he's a player in the MMO scene. Not generally the kind of content creator that I follow. I'm more of like a tech news, and occasionally I'll watch Shroud or Harris Heller. But it's relatively uncommon for me to watch uh, anything outside of that. So first thing I want to do is apologize, because one, I didn't complete my thoughts and it came across differently than I would have liked it to. I've reviewed what I've said multiple times. I did not want to imply that there was any nefarious background or any craziness that you know that was implied, that people might have considered that I implied in what I said. I appreciate the feedback that he gave during his stream, where he covered our stream. Um, you know, again, I appreciate all of that. Um, I feel that it's important, um, for us to be clear, because we're not aiming to be drama. We're aiming to be gaming news. We're aiming to be relevant. It was a thing that I saw on a website that I've now deemed to be not newsworthy. In fact, I've blacklisted it from use um, in our patch notes altogether, because there's nothing of value on that site. Um, and it's not just because we were covered in a negative way, because frankly we deserved it. You
Yeah, like
you
both
know,
both both myself and A's said, some things that were incorrect.
mhm.
You
we
know,
got we got
I
baited
think
by
I
bad
think everybody.
journalism, and we
Yeah,
we bit hard on it.
I mean,
You know.
the thing is, like, the pre-show is the pre-show. We just talk about random stuff. Like, we
Mhm.
have prepared content for the actual show, but like, when we're just spitballing with you guys and like chilling out kind of thing, like it's not really prepared content. We're just chilling out, like just maybe discussing some stuff, some things that we have in our head, like just literally off the top of our head, right? So
Mhm.
it was just one of those things where like we were reacting to uh, an article that we only just found out about, kind of thing, and it was literally, I mean, when you watch the clip, you kind of, if you watch the clip, like, without stopping, kind of thing, you can kind of actually tell that we're kind of digesting this article bit by bit, and you kind of see the situation where we do kind of go like, maybe he might actually not be, maybe Asmongold isn't actually being, you know, um, super serious. Like maybe his point isn't super serious. Like maybe it is a bit of a joke,
Mhm.
but sort of something that was made out of a joke, kind of thing. And Asmund, you know, admits to that, like on the actual on his commentary about it. Like he admits, like that the whole article was literally just predicated on
Yeah.
just him screwing around and a bit of a joke.
Yeah. And unfortunately we bit hard on it because we
Yeah.
felt that it was unfair,
Well,
but like
we
at the same time it was
it was an article from
yeah.
it was a badly done article that was thinking that he was being super serious, or at least claiming that he was being super serious when he wasn't. So.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's not a joke. Like, Father Tucker, like, Asmund isn't a joke. Like, he is actually pretty damn intelligent as a person. Like,
mm-hmm.
he hams it up a little bit in his, streams every so often. But the dude is an intelligent dude. Like,
Mm-hmm. You don't get to where he is without being an incredibly intelligent person and being able to treat this as though it's a business. That said, I criticized the business sense of making a joke like that. That I didn't know was a joke. So that's one of the penalties of having a Twitch clip, that it only shows you what's in the clip.
but that's also from your own sort of not own perspective, but your own kind of experience of being a bureaucrat in some way, shape, or form, where you don't make jokes, when you're being a professional kind of thing. But like, it's a different sort of field, right? So there's slightly different rules.
So I'm gonna rapid fire finish the rest of this here.
Yeah.
Of course, as with everything, we learn something new every day, and one of the things that we are going to talk about one of the things that we've changed in terms of internal policy is that we are not going to talk about another streamer unless they are live on air with us, so that if there is some level of confusion, it can be readily addressed live, and isn't left out there for any kind of craziness.
So we're much less likely to misinterpret something that someone's written about someone else if that someone else is literally, in the chat room with us.
Mm-hmm. Additionally, the other thing I want to note, and we'll move on right after this, is of course, it never looks good to hit somebody when they're going through hard times. So best wishes to Asmund Gold, legitimately. Of course, we had no idea. We were just made aware of some of the stuff he's going through. So, we don't want to be seen as taking a hit at people when they're having a hard time either. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. With that, rapid fire answer a few questions from chat, and we'll bring this back to a more casual, our normal casual pre-show content. We are not normally this serious in the pre-show, but we wanted to make sure that we covered this in a way that was not dismissive, and that owned up to, frankly, our mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a thing when it comes to this, is we want to be sure that people follow us for the right reason, and we want to be sure that people follow us because there's a level of journalistic integrity. And we missed the mark on that, even though it was in the pre-show, our standard should be higher than that. So, with that,
back to your regularly scheduled programming.
So the game is in breakdown. What's your opinion? I agree. I think the economy is flatlining. I think there's a number of issues. There's a number of bugs. There's some game modes that really need to come back online, like Outpost Rush. The Azov staff fix, I'm sincerely hoping makes it in this week's patch. Otherwise, I think there's going to be a lot of level 60s that are like, you can't run high-level content without it. It unlocks a lot more in the end game. The focus on this camera, come on, like, pull your shit together. On me, not back there, on me. Like, like, I'm not like, it would be one thing if I was like, rapidly moving back and forth, and it was trying to keep up with me. But like this camera is just like driving me crazy. Uh,
I mean, you've dug through the menus, right? Like you've dug through the menus to the point where you've actually, because you, I know that you were kind of screwing around with it like earlier, like early last weekend or something like that. But like, surely you dug through the menus and tried to find the autofocus,
I did.
and you didn't find it. Well, I mean, clearly you didn't find it, otherwise it wouldn't be autofocusing. So yeah, just checking a few things. And so Ben's kind of saying he's been 60 for over a week now with the outpost rush disabled. With the Azoth stuff bug, literally nothing to do but repetitive elite farming watermark kind of areas. Um, yeah, I do feel you there. Like that's one of the things that I remember, quick cataloging all of the elite farming areas kind of thing, and it just does look like there is literally you get to 60 and there's just an absolute ton of elite farming areas, and it's kind of like that's all very well and everything, but like you need some other variety in there, and I imagine I gather in Amazon Games' sort of eyes, you know, they would be having Outpost Rush like up and working and everything like that, and maybe even a couple other things. Obviously with the with the Azul staff actually working. So you know, considering if they had those working, people probably wouldn't be feeling anywhere near as as kind of burnt out from monotony. Um, but yeah, at this particular point in time, they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place at this particular point. So it does kind of suck. Um, but if you're the kind of if you're the kind that like burnt to 60 super quick, um, doing things other than like all the different quests and stuff like that in the actual from all the various different areas and all the various different uh settlements and stuff. Like, I mean, it doesn't hurt to go through them. Like, obviously, you're gonna absolutely cheese every single thing there, kind of thing, until you get to like the most high level ones, kind of thing, where it might be a little bit or a slight challenge to some degree. But at least you can at least maybe appreciate some of the side quest kind of storylines, maybe if that's your thing. But like, obviously, that won't appease everybody. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there's a number. Obviously, there are a number of things that need fixing. Um, there's also a number of things that the UI could change to be better. Um, like specifically like the company UI, as is frequently brought up in chat here. The company UI needs a polish. Especially the treasury UI. You need to be able to track money going in and out. Trying to focus the camera here as we go. And I'm trying to figure out. I'm see this is. I think I'm just gonna live with the autofocus the way it was. When I get some time for next week, I'm hoping to fix the autofocus problems that this camera is having. Um, good times. Yeah, this is much
Yeah,
better. Yeah.
so one of the other things is like, I do kind of feel like New World has a fairly solid base to work from, kind of thing. And this is the thing, like there's a lot of MMOs that will launch and won't exactly have that much content, sort of thing. They kind of, but they will, but they will, they will launch up. They will, run with updates, fairly periodically, to include more and more sort of, more and more content. And we're kind of hoping that, we're getting up towards one of those points sometime soon.
We should be, and I think really one of the big things that we need to um, we need to impress on the studio is that there is a lot of content there. It's just a lot of it's right now just not working. And if they fix the bugs, you know, this is going to be like there's going to be so much more. Like your level 60s, like anybody who's level 60 who's complaining that there's not a whole lot to do, I get it because Outpost Rush is down. Hoping for a fix for that. We're theoretically going to get patch notes tonight. We can hope. Um, you know, on top of that, you're looking at people want to play with their friends. We do have news on server transfers. The when is hopefully also coming in the patch notes, because the back end, of course, has to change for that to work, which means downtime is going to happen for that. They mentioned that it was ready to go before the weekend, but it of course meant downtime. They didn't want to do downtime over the weekend because people had already set up plans for wars and all of that. And now it's a matter of what day of the week is going to work best, as well as what all can they fit in that patch to fix more than just server transfers. Now the other thing here, and this isn't an excuse. This is just explaining something for how it is. This is Amazon's first big game. So, like, when you look at a studio like Blizzard, you look at a studio like EA, a lot of the size and a lot of the size and scope of their of the way that they operate as a studio has been built out over time. They didn't have all of their customer service in one place and coordinated right from the break. Amazon's having some growing pains with that. There's a ton of stuff like that I think the scale, frankly, is a little bit surprising. But I think that it's also important to note. And again, I'm not in the business of creating excuses for them. I can say that obviously I have a positive opinion of the game. That said, I fundamentally, and I cannot state this in enough ways, I fundamentally believe that there is a large desire to, from the player base to fix the game. There are a lot of problems. We don't want to be seen as sugarcoating that. There are a lot of problems. The economy is among them. As in my opinion, I think the economy is one of the biggest ones that needs changes.
Oh yeah, I agree entirely, dude. Like, I honestly, and let's compare and contrast this. I think that the issue that we have with the economic model that they're running with, at least as it stands right now, it is way more of an issue than a copy paste job between Winswood and Morningdale. Like, honest to God. And honestly, if you've ever actually been in Winswood and in Morningdale, you'll know that like they feel a bit different. They look different. They don't feel like a copy.
Yes. And although they have similar layouts, they like stating that the towns all have buildings and they all have street layouts that kind of look similar. That's how most towns are. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if anybody's played other games, but like most towns have kind of a consistent feel, and that's for a purpose. Generally speaking, it's so you can find stuff.
Yeah. There's been people who have kind of said like, oh, I actually get a little bit frustrated when it comes to sort of a brand new town because I have to kind of figure out where the hell everything is now, like in comparison to stuff that I know.
Hmm.
The other kind of thing is obviously, as you said, like most towns are built sort of a fairly similar way. Like even in in real life, like you get a large town, large city kind of thing. Like you can guarantee that there's going to be a ring road of some form around that town or around that city, maybe even multiple, and you're going to be having you know uh inroads going into the center, like from from those areas.
Hmm.
You know you kind of it's sort of like a little bit perplexing to claim that that is like a major issue with the game, like or somewhat sort of a signifier that like they clearly don't care about the game because there's many other things that you could point to that shows that they do actually care.
Hmm. I want to take a moment to note that we don't work for Amazon Game Studio. We coordinate and have connections with them, and that we are supported by, but we are not developers. We do not work for the studio. Um, so just putting it out there. Although I've got a whole bunch of New World stuff in the background, I custom printed a map to hang on my wall. We are content creators like everyone else. We just happen to be in the creator program and be very integrated into the community. So
The funny
the
thing
reason I
is
say
when it
that is
comes
I'm seeing a lot of comments that are like, um, like I guess you guys are just ignoring people calling you out on Outpost Rush. Like, you can call
huh,
me out on Outpost Rush all you want. Like, I'd play it too if it was available to play. So I'm really hoping for a fix on that as well. Um, you know, all about those New World hats. I've got mine hidden in the back behind me here. Um, just got this new,
I mean,
super nice haircut, and I wanted to show it off again.
the funny thing is like, I mean, yeah, I myself personally may not be at level 60 yet, but that's only because like, you know, both me and Ace have hit 60 like multiple times, in the alphas and the betas and that kind of thing. Like,
Hmm.
like
That, by the way,
we've
that
uploaded.
map is on our Discord. It is in, I think it's in the community resources channel.
Yeah,
Feel free to go download it, bring it to a print shop, and print it out. I think this one's 36 by 36. I brought it to a print shop down the road, and surprisingly expensive thing to do. Just putting that out there.
mm,
But definitely, like, it looks really cool. It's an old style map. Um,
yeah.
you know,
But
but yeah.
just as an aside, like in terms of like gameplay, like I know I've seen Aza's sort of hours played on the alpha, like New World Alpha. And it was over it was shit, what was it? It was like 3,400 something.
Hmm.
I can't quite remember what it was like in that kind of sense. I know mine was over 3K.
Hmm.
Um
We've
like
leveled more characters than we can count. You know,
And
uh,
I remember when we were talking about the closed beta, right? I was like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna we're not gonna smash up. We're not gonna like go to level 60 like as fast as we can. Like we're gonna chill out and enjoy the game kind of thing because it's the closed beta kind of thing. Like we're out of alpha, we're into the beta. It'll be cool. It's not a preview thing. And what did we do? We kind of smashed to 60, like, because we were still in that mindset, right? Still in the mindset of like, we're testing the game. We have to get to 60 to make sure that like, uh, we can kind of play the end level content and bring out put out some bug fixes or bug reports and that kind of thing for Amazon games. Um, and I remember going like, "Oh crap, I did it again," right? Like, we didn't chill out. We didn't actually sort of like decide to enjoy the game instead we just smashed it to 60 again. And so I thought to myself, I was like, no, I'm not going to do it this time when it comes to, the release. I'm going to enjoy the game. I'm going to just chill out and actually do it. And that's the reason why, yeah, I'm not 60 at the moment, but like I don't consider that to be like, something negative on me being a content creator that I'm not at 60. I've done it so many times.
For the record, I am at level 60 though.
Yeah,
And have been, because this came up in a different thing. I've also been level 60 for about a week and a half now. So
it was funny when you hit 60 because it was probably, was it like a few hours after?
It was about
Amazon
5 hours
literally?
after they closed Outpost Rush, and I was like, no, the content I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So I feel
Okay.
people's pain when it comes to Outpost Rush, because that's the content that, like, one, it's what makes the end game shine. Because
It's a great mode.
infinitely replayable, and it's just fun. You know, now the other thing here is that we took some flack for talking about ways to level. There is a meta for superpower leveling, and that's town board quests in a variety of different places. You have to move around, you have to use your Azoth for it, but you can make it to level 60 doing just town board quests, and it's the fastest thing you can do. That said, not everybody needs to min-max it. Enjoy the game, especially if it's your first time playing. Don't worry about it. You won't run into things like Outpost Rush having some issues. You won't run into the Azoth staff problem. For high tier Azoth staffs, like, just take your time.
And just as an aside, I'm not trying to get to level 60 just by finding like notes around the world. That is not my aim.
Like, if you're gonna super heavy like play through the game, like, and you're going crazy on getting XP, and you see notes as you're running by, or you see areas that you haven't discovered as you're running by them, tag in on them for the free XP. Like, that's of course, but those are of course not the primary thing you're going to use to level.
They're just additive,
but they're additive to the experience. Exactly.
Yeah, they're not the reason why you should be going to a certain place. They're just the reason why you should, divert a few steps or like a 10 or so meters to just go and pick up. Like, that's not the reason to be out there.
Mm-hmm. And realistically, and I'll say this 120 times if I need to, have fun. Like, it's a game. It's, there are some people out there who treat it like a job. And if you treat it like a job, then great, more power to you. If you have infinite time to play and that's what you choose to do, phenomenal. But understand that, like, there is not a single gaming studio on the planet that can develop enough content for you to burn through that is not repetitive in any way to keep up with 100+ hours a week. There just isn't. At least not yet. We can hope. Like, yeah.
Oh, sure.
So, and I mean, like, there's, there is actually a surprising amount to do when you hit level 60, because the grind doesn't end there. There's also the watermark for gear, which is basically, going and killing high-level enemies. This gets a lot easier when you have the T5 Azoth staff, because you can get rare drop chances off of closing those portals as well. So, like, that increases your watermark. And how your watermark works after 60 is you get T5 equipment, which goes from 500 to 600 gear score. Once you get an item, let's say you get a helmet, that helmet is 520 gear score, and that's the highest one that you've ever picked up. And I'm fully aware that the Azoth staff isn't working right now. I hear you guys. Again, we're not developers. We're players, content creators. Like, we totally understand. Like,
we
are hoping. Like, here's the thing: we are sincerely hoping that they stay to the plan, because if they do and they stay consistent with every other time they've done this, we're gonna get patch notes later tonight, and I'm hoping to God that 2 things are in there: Outpost Rush and Azoth staffs. Like, those are huge. They're both end game, but like that's what needs to happen, and it would go a long way. I also think that they should start doing economy fixes, hopefully, because like
Yeah,
stuff is
it's
just
gonna
not
start to
worth
get
any money right now.
it's starting to get ugly. Not gonna
Um,
lie. But
and of
you know
course,
the funny thing
transfers are
is,
coming. Like there was
yeah,
news on that we'll cover during the show. Um,
yeah,
like there's a
interesting
full
developments soon.
Q&A on the forums that we're going to cover. That I posted to Reddit as well. It's a pinned post if you're looking for it. Um, you know, housing tax is too
Was it?
high. It probably it depends
I
because
think
like
housing taxes
you
are
can
kind of
get
broken to
4 or 5K in one good mining run, or like harvesting run. You just got to know what to sell. Um,
I think to some degree, I think housing taxes are a little bit broken because I don't think it's like reducing taxes in areas you control, like or areas
uh,
your faction controls. Like it's not areas that like you specifically control, but like I believe that's meant to be a thing, and I've seen instances where that isn't happening. So like it could be a case of like there's a bug related to that in some way, shape, or form. But
we're
yeah,
not
like
we're not on iTunes yet. That's one of the expansion plans that we have is iTunes and
yeah,
Spotify.
yeah, that's right.
We're actually making a change so people that are watching the VOD, speaking to people in the future here, if you're watching the VOD after the fact, you'll note that there is no background music. That's actually so that we can reintroduce background music and make cuts and cut out all of our verbal pauses and oddities that we have on stream because naturally we're not perfect at speaking live and creating things on the fly. Um,
One of the nice things when it comes to sort of making YouTube content is like, you can start, stop, edit, this, that, and the other. You can run with a teleprompter, all that jazz, right?
would love to
When
get
you're
the intro
live,
music from
it's
our show. So the
oh, okay.
intro movie, we actually own that music. We own the rights to that music. It's not New World specific. It is content that we went out. We had to find, you know, we had to find a
We
song that we
scoured a
liked,
lot.
and we had no. That took us forever. Um, you know, was definitely a challenge.
And you'll be
Um,
hearing that in like 27 minutes or something, like when
mhm.
we actually start the show.
Yep. When we hit play,
17, sorry.
you'll hear our intro. It's a custom created thing. I like it. Then again, I made it, so you know.
We made it. We made it.
Um, um, but yeah, from there, obviously, like there are things that need to be fixed. We 100% agree. Like there is also a lot
There
of
was a
content out there that people have to go and do. Like there are legendary quests. There are you know raising your watermark. That is a grind in itself. It's a lot easier when there's more content available that's not blocked behind some of the issues. Um,
But I remember doing a little bit of research on this as well, and you'll recall this as well, Ace, but like I went and looked at other MMOs and sort of like there's the activities that you're asked to kind of do and those sorts of things, and for the most part, when it comes to MMOs, even like single player sort of stuff, even non MMOs that are like open world RPGs and stuff like that, like most things, most activities are essentially like, fetch quests, kill quests, you know, uh, you know, um, go to a particular location kind of thing. Like, um, a large chunk of, the things that you do in MMOs can be, essentially uh, categorized into only like a few different things, and it's really a case of just how the developers kind of beautify that particular process, or sort of like make it add like interesting elements to that kind of make you not realize that it's actually just another kill quest or just another fetch quest or just another you know whatever it is, right? And that's kind of like that's where the sort of like the creativity and the sort of like stylistic kind of aspects of whichever game that you're playing kind of comes into it. And fair, yeah, like you can kind of say that there is definitely some of that lacking when it comes to the way that New World has kind of presented their quests. Um, but they're getting on their feet. Like this is their first foray into open world MMO RPGs, right? And yes, I do know, and that is one of my verbal crutches. So I apologize.
Yeah. One thing we can say is, of course, like we have brought on board two YouTube editors, um, and a lot of these like verbal pauses and things like that are going to be removed in post. But welcome to the live show where occasionally we stumble over our words. We're human, um, so we do appreciate you guys. Like, and one of the things I do want to state is I do see all of the follows coming in. Uh, we love you guys. Like, simply put, all the follows, the subscriptions, all of that. You guys are making our day. Like, we sincerely do enjoy this. And like our goal is to be, um, well, hey, it'd be good enough for government work too. Our goal is to maintain being your guys' source for New World specific information. You know, and to be the guys that break news to you, to be the people that can find the stuff. Because we're about as embedded in the community as you could possibly get. Probably more than I should be. Like, anybody who volunteers to be a Reddit mod, like, should go get a psych eval, because it's not paid. Thanks for the sub. It's not a paid gig for Reddit. Like, it's a community run subreddit, so it is what it is. It's also a lot more work than it looks like. And we are trying to do something about the toxicity level on it. You know, it ain't easy. What do you think about the huge deflation hitting every trading post on every server? Yes, I think it's a huge problem. Um, and I mean, we talked about the economy in a previous episode, and like people really didn't like our idea. But like I honestly think that um, one of the big things that probably should happen to help clear out a lot of the low tier weapons and low quality cheap weapons would be to increase the value of using a repair kit instead of just repair tools or like repair parts. I think that they should increase that incentive dramatically, um, and make it something so that it's uncommon to use repair parts, and you should endeavor to go get repaired kits. What server are we on? We're on the Paralis server on US East. We play Covenant. Our company is the Ninth Legion and the Ninth Garrison. And actually, it's Ninth Legio because for some reason our company name just changed one day to a whole bunch of random digits. I got nothing on that one. Like it just kind of happened. And then when we tried to change it back to what it should have been, it was no longer available. Gotta love that kind of fun. Gets expensive to repair late game. It really does. Repair kits use so much resources. They do, um, but I fundamentally believe that they're also something that um, you know needs to also pull those resources out of the game because you only get repair parts from salvaging equipment. Um, I think the drop chance for equipment in the wild is a little too high. I think the changes that they made to add more flux and more, sandpaper and more stuff like that in crates was a mistake. Um, you know, the only way to have stuff have value is to make it have value, or flat out increase the amount of gold in the system by a dramatic amount, which will cause inflation in the long term, but will create large buyout in the short term. Um, but then we start getting into some crazy stuff. For those that don't know, I had a minor in economics, so like, you know, I I'm not crazy when I talk about the economy, but like, it is yeah. If I wanted to double down and really make people angry, I would say that we need to return to the durability system that was seen in. Um, I'm gonna reference this because it was in a video. The durability system that was seen in prior alphas. I'm not breaking any NDA because it was showcased in a video that was released to the press. Um, where over time equipment, if it wasn't repaired by somebody who actually had high repair level skills or high, in this case used a repair kit or something to that fashion, it took permanent loss of durability, and over time the equipment would phase out. I'm not talking about a short time here. Like everybody freaks out whenever I say that. I'm talking about like you're going to have that equipment for a long time, especially when it comes to legendary gear. Um, because for those that don't know, the legendary gear, of course, has substantially higher durability as is. But I think there's a number of fixes they need to start looking at for the economy before it's too late. Also, again, like I'm still watching like all the follows like fall in, like the animations just going off nonstop, and I do appreciate that, guys. Will there be an update tomorrow? We're gonna find out probably live on stream. Um, if Amazon is consistent, which they've been very consistent for much longer than most people know, we should receive patch notes tonight if they're consistent. We're of course sincerely hoping that patch notes come through. This so that's a command I haven't seen yet. Headset. This is actually the Audio Technica. Actually, I don't know. McLeod, do you know which headset this one is? It's the Audio Technica.
Um,
it's the same studio mic that
broadcast
what's his name uses.
one.
Yeah. Just got the game yesterday, and you're enjoying it. Awesome, good to hear.
Yeah. So it's called the BPH S1. It's the broadcast stereo headset. It's essentially a headset that is designed specifically for like on-air news and sports broadcasting.
GPA. That's funny. Yeah, that's probably the first time anybody's asked for my GPA since college. I think I graduated with like a 3.2. Wasn't overly impressive.
We don't have GPAs over here in the UK.
You don't have GPAs, really? Wow.
Nope.
Lucky.
Yeah, we just change the system up every like 2 years, so like nobody knows what the hell's going on.
C's get degrees. Hey, like I legit I haven't been asked about my my GPA since literally since college. Like actually, there was one agency that asked for GPA because they have a legal statute that requires it for analyst positions. But outside of that, I haven't. It's not something that, like, unless you graduate with like honors and graduate as like summa cum laude, or like, I'm sure I butchered that because I'm, don't speak, Italian or Latin or whatever it is.
It's a dead language. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, unless you get super high marks, you never get asked about it. You did butcher it. Yeah, yeah, I figured. Where do I see myself in 10 years? Hopefully retired early on a beach, talking about video games.
That'd be nice.
Like that would be the life right there. The reality, it's probably going to be another 35 years, and I'm going to retire on time and have a nice retirement with my pension and all that. Like,
You just go as far as you weigh from anybody and everybody. It's like,
mm-hmm. um,
island in the middle of nowhere.
somebody just sent me something, and I need to address it because apparently we are supposed to sign up for Twitch Rivals.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So
I don't know. That's like a head-to-head thing, right? Okay, fair enough.
what's your opinion on small guilds not having an option to have shared storage? I think that company storage is a vital thing that
Yes.
I think should be one of the priorities for things to be adding.
I was disappointed that it didn't like randomly appear like when the game went to release.
It's not just you. This camera is like going crazy for no, like, I would understand if I was like doing one of these and it was trying to keep up with me, but no, it's like randomly like focusing in on nothing. Like, I'm here, focus. Yeah. Like, here, let me.
I mean,
See, it's
Code,
going to be out of
like,
focus the whole time.
Code,
Like,
he has searched and searched and searched for that particular option on his camera, and he hasn't found it yet. And I don't think you
there,
have an eye tracking
it's
software.
off.
Is it off?
Yeah, except now it's kind of skewed. Like, this is me sitting straight up.
Yeah. Has kind of done a little like.
Yep. For those that don't know, of course, we are being embedded over on newworldfans.com. That's no secret.
Nope.
That's a large share of our views are coming from over there. We, of course, thank them. We're part of the Studio Loot team over there, so for what most people don't know is that embeds are promoted by Twitch. It's not a form of view botting. It is something that Twitch actually allows you to do and has set up for people to do. But, alright, here's the thing. We're about to hit 7 o'clock. We're going to start the show. So,
Yes.
to make it easy on my editor, we're going to drop to the starting soon screen. And yeah. All right, welcome everyone to the NWO Show, your source for everything New World. We're of course happy to be here, happy to happy to create content for you guys, happy to build a show that hopefully brings you the entertainment as well as the information that you're looking for. Um, you know, again,
Yeah.
we wouldn't do this without you guys. We do see all of the follows, all of the subscribes, everything else coming in, and it is much appreciated. So thank you guys. I want to take a moment to quick thank our Patreons, as well as the people who support us through Discord and all other means. It legit means the world to us. But with that, let's hit it off right and
Mm-hmm.
dive right in to our first topic. And we are going to talk about, because I have it up, we're going to talk about the game breaking
Yeah.
invincibility exploit that works in wars. For those that don't
It
know,
can
there is
work
an
in other
exploit.
places as well, but it does work in wars, yes.
Yes. And specifically, we're going to be talking about this um, in terms of moderation. Basically,
Yes.
Muggsy, one of the community managers, for those that don't know him, he's a great guy to know. Um, you know, has basically come out and stated our top priority with any bugs or exploits that come up is to solve the problem as quick as possible. If there are any folks abusing that bug or exploit, they'll make sure they're handled by moderation. So we're not going to explain how this particular bug happens or anything like that.
No. No.
Um, you know, but we do want to state that hey, this is the development staff is saying that these things are going to be addressed by moderation staff. This is not something that they deem acceptable. So
Yeah.
basically,
And it's
don't abuse stuff that you know to be an exploit.
yeah. The so I mean the unfortunate thing is, doing a bit of a Google search and stuff like that, you can find out how to do this, but like we're not going to be telling you how to be able to do this. That's not what we do on the show, sort of thing. Um, but it like just to put a fine point on it, this this particular exploit doesn't require you to like inject code or mess with the with the client in any particularly sort of odd or sort of like a unusual way. And so in that kind of sense, like you can't actually, it's not something that will be picked up by, say, for example, things like easy anti-cheat. um that's the kind of the unfortunate aspect of this, but it does have very obvious, uh, like it the look of your character when you do it in game. Um, has a particular style to it, a particular kind of, a particular tell, as you may say, to it. So from a um, from a sort of in-game standpoint, it may be sort of fairly easy to be able to tell if someone's actually doing it. Um, and that might actually prove to be somewhat advantageous for Amazon Games to sort of, you know, find or at least detect anybody who's doing it,
Mm-hmm.
because it has particular characteristics.
Yep.
Um,
And this is a
yeah.
common. So how this is moderated is, of course, a combination of user reports and they're gonna be able to see it on server logs because all that data is there. Um, so keep in mind those are definitely things. Um, is it possible for a player to accidentally do it? I suppose. Um,
I mean,
you
it's
know,
possible that they could also, obviously be do it in order to record it to put it into a bug report, for example.
um,
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 but
so
you can do that without actually, creating an advantage for yourself in game in some way, shape, or form. Like, you can't hand wave you and like 40 of your friends. doing this to gain an advantage in a 50 on 50, for example, and just claim like, oh, I was recording it for a bug report. Like, that ain't gonna fly. Sorry.
Absolutely. So naturally, there's also a bunch of people who do those bug reports. They are important. That said, there's a difference between trying something, trying creative things to break it, and using a known exploit. And they're of course treated very differently. But yeah. So with that, we basically wanted to hit on the fact that, hey, they are calling out specific exploits on the forums. For people that haven't visited the forums before, if you're loading into the forums, you got a variety of different things that that are available basically. But if you click Dev Tracker, this is going to allow you to see everything that the development staff and community management staff have been saying. This is where we get a lot of information, but it's also it also allows us to view and see specifically and filter through things. So want to make sure people know about that because it's a rapid way for you to make sure that you stay informed. Also, use the forums. Report bugs on the forums. It really is important, and it does have a search feature, so you can find we
will be soon. I feel.
I think I've got a whole bunch of. Yeah, you can see that I just sit here and share stuff. So, but yeah. So what's going to be the end game besides getting max gear? Outpost Rush. When they finally fix Outpost Rush, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be really happy about it. It really is a good thing. We are hoping, and this is one of those things that like could happen while we're live on the air. And we will be watching for this.
We hope we get patch notes right at the end of the show. Like it happened last week, and hopefully it happens this week.
Sorry, somebody sent me a thing, and I need to quick. All right. So
that's right.
That covers our first topic. I want to move and talk about server transfers because this is the other huge thing. I posted this to the subreddit as well. It's one of the pinned posts right now. But
poke your friends if they were waiting for the server transfer kind of conversation and information, because this is we're going to be covering it now.
Yes, and we are hopeful to hear more information beyond this because the question on everybody's mind is, when
transfer.
When transfer. Now, again, we don't know for sure that this is happening, but there is a good chance that we should receive patch notes tonight and likely receive a downtime tomorrow for the servers to update to enable that. That would be based on them doing consistent actions that they've done for several weeks in a row, and did for the variety of things that they've done in the past. That said, you can rest assured whenever the next patch lands, that's when we're going to get it. Because they've already confirmed publicly that it's done and that it's ready, but it does require a downtime, and they didn't want to do the downtime over the weekend. So, but let's start going through these because there is actually some really cool stuff here, and I'm gonna start by saying, first and foremost, don't use this right away. I know that sounds bad, And again, we're not developers. We don't work for Amazon. This is just general advice. Don't use your token for server transfers right away. Hold off a couple more days at least. Start seeing where everyone else is going. You don't want this to be launch day 2.0. You want to take the opportunity to go, hey, you know, where is full? Where can everybody that I need to move to one place, and everybody, in our friend group, be able to play on the same server? We haven't had that problem because our server has, we hit full for a while, but functionally, I think only like 2 or 3 people are going to do that, and I think all of them are going to potentially join us on the server we're on, because I don't think we don't plan to move for at least 2 weeks after the server transfers go live. If we move at all. And the reason, of course, the reason for that is we want to see who is doing what, where they're going, how many are going there. We want to get information on all these different servers so that we know, a balanced server to go to. So let's answer some of let's read through the Q&A that they've posted, and it's going to answer a ton of the questions that you guys have, and you'll understand why I'm saying maybe not do it right away, and wait to see what happens. So
yep.
How many times will we be able to transfer for free? Will we be able to pay for server transfers after using the free tokens? The initial release includes 1 transfer token. This is single use. We will continue to monitor server populations, and if transfers result in uneven distribution that causes queues, we will issue new sets of tokens where needed. So that's a huge thing. Basically, they're giving you a token that you can redeem at any time. They got a question on that as well that I just covered, but when will full servers open for transfers? Will there be any monitoring of these servers to see whether or not they should be open, closed, depending on the flow of transfers? The answer to this: we monitor full status on a daily basis, with changes. As recently as today, full doesn't indicate a server that always has queues. It indicates a server that during typical peak usage has a substantial queue. We'll be relaxing full status on many worlds when transfer starts to allow the most flexibility possible. After transfers are slowed down, we'll reevaluate which worlds might still need this designation. So, kind of an important thing.
Sense.
They're going to relax it. They're going to make it easier for people to get into full servers. That said, if everybody goes to the same 3 servers again, like what happened on launch, then you're gonna have a bad day.
Yeah, just a bit.
So
And this
again,
is why we say,
caution, yeah,
caution and bide your time a little bit. Like, you don't have to rush into it.
Mm-hmm. So, is there a potential for regional transfers to come in the future? This was a huge question and a huge issue for them. Like, I can't state how much was given over this specific thing, because they accidentally released a tweet that was like, oh yeah, absolutely there will be regional transfers. Meanwhile, the guy behind the intern behind the Twitter was like, oh no, that's now out in the wild. The answer to that question: there is potential, yes, and we're working on it now. We cannot provide an ETA because it is a very different process. But when we realized we had created confusion on this, we felt that we owed it to the community to find a solution. That is a very important statement. They are openly stating that they fucked up. Hey, we messed up. We provided conflicting information. What we're gonna do is we're gonna fix it. We're working on it. It is a different process. For those that don't know, it is a very different process from being able to transfer between servers on the same data center and transferring to a server that is on another continent. That is
Yeah.
a much larger task and could take a substantial amount of time. Think about how much player data you might have. Um, that could take much longer time, and it's a whole different process because you're talking about sending and receiving it instead of over a local area network. You're potentially sending and receiving it over um, the internet, which may include some sort of packet loss type issues. So just want to put that out there. Oh look, he ain't wearing his New World hat. I'm not. I got a new haircut and I wanted to show it off. My bad. Like the hat's
Yeah,
behind
and
me.
you weren't wearing it last week like that.
Yeah.
Just as an FYI. So like if people kind of think like, oh, because of certain things, he's not wearing a hat
Yeah.
today. Like,
To
no,
be
he
fair,
wasn't
our
wearing it
our
last week either.
follows and our subscriber count are like we've even got a couple new Patreons. Like
Nice.
I'm starting to think that maybe I just need to not look like a bum more often, and you know
Yeah, I need to work
oh
on that.
I digress. Let's talk about the next things here. Will
Hmm.
all members of a large company be able to transfer over? Do we have a cap of how many people can transfer to a certain server? Uh, there is no technical limit to the number of characters that can transfer to a server. We also have addressed an issue that made moving a company difficult. Starting with the release of server transfers, when the last person leaves a company, it will be treated as abandoned and the name will be available seconds later. Note, you should not rename
Ooh.
your company if you intend to transfer it. That will
Yeah,
make
because I
the
imagine
old
that
name
also keeps.
unavailable on the new server.
Oh yeah, okay, don't do that.
Yeah, so don't do that. Last guy
That is very
out, yeah,
important.
it automatically closes and then it becomes available again. Otherwise, it's probably like a cached resource that is checking against a master list so that nothing gets renamed the same thing. Just throwing that
Yeah,
out there. Um, where
makes
is it?
yeah. I'm glad that they're doing that, but like yeah, it's definitely a good thing to know the methodology as to how to move that company from one server to another without it screwing it up.
Yeah, yeah. And again, it is. I agree with chat here. It is very much a process development type thing. It's not like packet loss is probably not going to be an issue for them. But it is a very different process than a internal to the region transfer because it's all within the same data center. Um, so I'm going to read the next part of this here. Uh, Full emptying the company so it is abandoned will free up the name for use. However, large companies should consider the implications of moving as a group to an already busy server. This could cause the server to be a full status after the move. We will warn a full day ahead of time of any full server status changes in the first week of server transfers being available so as to not surprise anybody with a status change. So that's pretty big.
That's quite nice. Yeah.
Like, they're not just going to automatically close it, but they are going to sit there and say, hey, you know, um, yeah. I don't know what I don't know what I was going to say there. Benefits of a live show right here, guys.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah. So basically, that's a huge thing. Are there any plans for adding new worlds to X region, world set, recommended language, etc.? As New World continues to attract new players, we will evaluate server populations and open new servers as necessary, including making sure there is always a non-full option for supported languages. We also merge servers if needed to provide the best gameplay experience, even both at the same time. Oh, new servers and
Oh, okay.
merge servers as conditions require.
Ah,
Okay,
oh,
yeah.
okay.
I sitting there and I was like, that doesn't make sense as a sentence structure, but yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, if your server, like, here's the thing. Let's say everyone else moves off your server. don't waste your token for transferring, because they're going to merge your server with another server. And then if you like that server, great. If you don't, you got another opportunity to go to another server. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, it's 200 IQ right there. So don't waste it if you're on a low end one, for population wise, because you're potentially going to get a free move anyways. So I talked about this a moment ago. They do not So is there a potential for regional transfers to come in the future? This question's targeting the can I move from US West to US East? There is a potential for this, yes. They're working on it right now. They can't provide an ETA because it's a very different process than an internal transfer within the same region. But of course, they also recognize that they created confusion around this, and they owed it to the community to find a solution and make this happen. So I hope that answers the question. I saw it a couple of times in chat, and I was like, I need to make sure that was it again.
So, So they're working on that. If the server transfers come out tomorrow, like chances are you won't be able to do it tomorrow, but like you will still get the token, you will get to be able to keep it. And when they do actually finalize that, region to region server transfer, you'll be able to do it. You just might have to wait a little longer.
All right. Sorry, I'm just checking in on something here. Is there a time limit? Time frame players need to use this token by? This is an important question. Basically, they're giving you a token. The answer to this question is no. Once you receive this token, it is permanently on your account, which means if you want to transfer, you use the token, it's gone. But if you don't use it, you can cache it forever. And it's just a free transfer to another server if you ever feel like, hey, my friends, I got a couple of friends that are playing on that server now. I want to go join them. Can I send the link for the thread? Absolutely. I know we're covering this kind of slow, but like, there you go, guys.
Nice.
So there's no limit to the time frame that it can sit on your account, and you can transfer it any time. There's no rush. Again, this is why we're urging people, hey, take a few days. Wait to see what happens. Wait to see what servers are full. And then find a server that's going to fit, your balance. Find a balanced server that isn't, 100% one-sided and all that. In the future, you're also going to be able to purchase server transfers. They've mentioned that already. But they're also, if there's substantial problems where too many people are on one server again, they might issue another wave of free tokens. It'll probably be a targeted wave to people on specific servers as a benefit of being like, hey, maybe you should consider all moving somewhere else. Which makes sense if you really think about it. We have not talked about maps yet. That's actually the next topic. So, will we be increasing server capacity in addition to server transfers? We're always interested in providing the largest capacity that provides the best gameplay environment. We'll increase here as long as we are sure it doesn't degrade gameplay. So many observant players have noticed we're already experimenting with that on some servers. Also, as some time goes on for the World of Eternum, we'll get larger, which will allow a better balance room for even more players. Basically, a lot of the limits on servers are to prevent a negative gameplay experience. Like if you've ever had to farm, some of the quests that still require, skinning the one bear, that's required for a quest. Well, imagine 30 people standing around the bear. that are all trying to get the quest done. Only one of them's ever going to get it done at the same time, and there's going to be a bunch of them that are upset and frustrated and confused and annoyed, and like basically that's the kind of gameplay experience they don't want to have happen. So
Yeah.
there is an issue of having too many people on one server. Crown, I know you're probably crazy busy with a bunch of things, but can you also link the thing multiple times? I'm going to try and answer some of the questions that are super repetitive as often as I can. But like things like the regional transfer, you know, I can only cover it so many times.
Yeah, I'm also trying to sort of answer them in
Awesome.
in chat as well, so it's all good.
Yep.
Yeah.
This link, by the way. That way people can also like pseudo answer their own questions. I'm not like trying to be mean to anybody, but we've got a lot of other content for tonight, and potentially more on its way. So yeah,
I'm just kind of thinking of the top 20 issues. There is so much of that because every single one of them is a talking point that we could quite easily talk about for 15-20 minutes each, right? So
exactly.
Yeah, let's crack on, shall we?
Yep. So unlimited time between time frame that the players can hold on to that token. Expanding server capacity. Are the tokens one per account or one per player? Tokens are one per account. If we find transfers have created an imbalance on particular servers, we can reissue tokens for those affected. So again, localized, they might have a second one. It's a solid way of. I apologize if the bot is aggressive. It's as much crap as auto mods have been given in the last while. We use one because it does actually save our bacon on a number of cases. But apologies if it comes across as super aggressive.
Sometimes it does trigger on words that some people would consider to not be foul language or swear words, but it's just one of those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. Will we be able to move within the same world set? So, for those that don't know, there are several world sets that are out there. It's kind of the second name that's next to your server name. Yes, you are able to transfer your character to a different world within the same world set. That said, those servers are also going to be the ones that you're going to be merging to if servers fall below a certain size or etc. Please tell me that's a thing. All right, boys, live. Thank you for the people in chat that caught that before.
I was trying to find it. I was literally looking for it.
All right. We're going to come back, and my editor's going to kill me for this. We're going to come back to the Q&A on that, and we're going to cover the server transfer details and the 1.0.3 update patch notes, which have just launched. For those that want to read them, here's the link, and you guys can spam the link for anybody who's looking for it.
Of course, I was looking in the wrong location, going, well, it has been posted on the forums, so I don't know where it is. Oh, right. Mm-hmm. Of course it's not. It's here.
Yep. For some reason, Twitter always seems to have it first. So that's where I went to find it. Just if you're ever trying to catch him fast. So there's an intro to this one. Greetings, adventurers. With this update, we've laid the final groundwork for the server transfer feature. We've also included a swath of bug fixes, thanks to those all who helped us track down these issues, through the reports on the official New World forums. Before we dive into the details on exactly how server transfer systems work, our plan to roll out to all regions, uh, and our list of bug fixes. We want to thank everyone who supported New World the first few weeks after launch. To show our appreciation for your patience, we're granting all players the Stoic in-game title. This title is meant to thank all of those, as the title description states, showed solid resolve in the face of epic wait times. Uh, it's good to see that
Oh,
they've got a sense of
okay.
humor about this. Uh,
Yeah.
the title will be automatically granted to your character and will be equipped by navigating the character menu, selecting the bio tab, selecting the change in the title section of the screen. This may take up to a day for the Stoic title appear in the list of available titles. We've also added the waiting emote to the in-game store for free as an additional thank you. That's kind of comical. Uh,
Uh,
to claim the emote, navigate to the in-game store and select the emotes tab, where you'll find the waiting emote available for free. Emotes are account bound, so you will need to only need to claim it once on your Steam account, even if you have 2 characters. Uh, as much as they gave everybody the Stoic one, I have a feeling that they should have selectively given people the Impatient title. Uh, but I do appreciate that. I think this is the waiting emote.
yeah, that's good. Like the little tapping, nice.
I appreciate that. Um, so they're going to spotlight character server transfers. We want everybody to find the long-term home and to turn them as soon as possible. We also want to ensure that the process is safe and ready for everyone to use. We've been hard at work on the feature and testing it in the last 2 weeks, but because the feature is brand new, we have decided to take a safe, incremental approach to rolling out transfers to all players. When all worlds are back online from downtime, our plan is to monitor the framework we created without turning transfers on immediately. Once we have confirmed that the framework holds up at scale, we will turn on character server transfers in the Utopia world first, in the AP Southeast region. Um, we will closely monitor transfers in this world, and if anything out of the ordinary occurs, our team will need to make manual interventions. If all goes well, we'll turn it on for the rest of the AP region and continue monitoring after 8 hours. If our team hasn't discovered any issues, we will fully deploy character server transfers to the other regions. Basically, they're using the Asia Pacific server as a test bed for testing this at scale. This means that this is actually a really smart idea. Like I gotta give them credit for this. They are basically ensuring that it works before messing with all of your character's files. Because if that system fails in some creative way, everything that you've done might vanish in some creative way. So just putting it out there, it's good that they're testing this. There's a lot of stuff that's got to transfer perfectly, otherwise it becomes a huge problem. So Asia Pacific, hopefully everything goes well, and then it's coming to everyone else. So, um, thank you to our Asia Pacific players for helping us test and ensure this feature
Yeah.
is ready for the worldwide rollout. And thank you to everyone for your understanding and patience. Please stay tuned to the Play New World and our forums for the latest updates. They've got an FAQ. I believe this is showcasing the actual process for a transfer.
Yeah, and then obviously, the various different processes that you have to kind of go through in order for your transfer to kind of work or function correctly.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this was actually in a post previously. Things that do transfer when you do transfer along with your character. Things that don't transfer with your character. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and essentially kind of how companies are going to kind of function. Obviously, you're gonna have to leave your company, but as we were talking about previously in the Q&A, in order to transfer that company, you don't do not change your company's name. That is not how you
Yes.
do it. Like, what you do is
Yes.
you get everybody to leave the company. Ideally, keep one person in the company, and transfer all of you guys to whichever destination that you feel is optimal for your group. And then once you're settled onto that server, you can kind of confirm that you guys are on the server. You know, um, ideally, ideally move the governor to a reliable character or a reliable person, and that will stay on the sort of original server that you're on initially, and then get your governor in the new server to basically start the process of making a new company. And then what you essentially do is you leave the company on the original. You get the last person to leave the company on the original server, and then that name will be available for you to take for your governor to take on the new server. So that's the process.
This is what I get for muting my microphone for coughing.
There we go.
That's funny. um, so, what comes with me when I transfer? I gonna cover this one twice, I guess, for more than just me and McLeod. Uh, so you'll keep all of your character progression, level, mastery, titles, etc. You keep all of your inventory, all of your stuff in storage, all of your currency. You keep your houses and housing decorations, and you will keep all quest progress. So that's huge. What doesn't transfer with you? Your company membership needs to be terminated before transferring. It will not carry over. Active trading post sell orders and buy orders must be removed and will not carry over. Your friends list is world specific and will not transfer either. So those are all things you're going to need to recreate. But hey, that's definitely a thing. Where can I move my world? Where can I move my character to? You can move your character to any world in your region. This is temporary because they have stated that in the future they're planning to roll this out so that you can move between regions, but they haven't developed that yet. Soon it should be a thing. It won't be in this initial set of transfers. It will be in future ones. Cannot move your character to a full world. We stated earlier, based on their Q&A, that they're going to delay servers from entering full status a day before they're going to notify and say, hey, this server is going to be full status tomorrow, so it's not a surprise to people. You can't move your character into a world in maintenance, which makes sense. Server's under maintenance. Probably not a good idea to move to it at that time while it's busy doing other stuff. You cannot move your character into a world set that you have an existing character in already. So also an important one, meaning you can't move two characters into the same, basically server that's running it.
Yep.
Makes a lot of sense. All right, let's cover the fixes from the actual patch notes, because I've got some stuff that I'm really hoping are in here.
I can tell you one of them is.
One of them is? Okay, awesome. Added improvements in the world selection UI, added clearer messaging when a player is kicked due to AFK or violating the easy anti-cheat, EAC. Added clearer messaging when stacked discounts are present, such as territory standing and faction discounts on property taxes. Implemented back-end changes to help our team investigate concerns around the client performance in war, which, hey, that's great. Adjusted the respawn timer on both Swain Ambrose and other various elite enemies throughout the world. Super. That's a good one. Adjusted the in the depths, players must now be in the arena to damage Thorpe.
That is. I did hear of
That's
certain
creative.
situations where people were able to get into certain locations and carry on damaging Thorpe, and he couldn't actually do anything back to him. So I'm glad that they fixed that, because that was kind of like a way to cheese Thorpe, in what was not intended. Let's put it that way.
I've run into this more times than I can count. An error now appears when players attempt to buy their own items in the trading post. Hey, that's a really cool item. Somebody should buy that. Oh yeah, that's a really cool item. Oh wait, whoops. uh,
Yeah.
oh, here we go. Reverted the chest loot change from the prior update that was causing too many refining agents to roll from chests. Thank you. That needed to go back ASAP. They were dropping at way too high a rate.
Oh yeah.
Also, if you're currently in game, somebody buy me, 1,000 of each, because I'm sure the market's about to go crazy for them.
Yeah, people are suddenly going to rocket up in price. Suddenly, I wonder why that might be.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Adjusted the volume on the Amazon game splash screen. Thank God, because it's like 6 times louder than the rest of the game.
Yeah, that is a bit much.
Armor is limited to 1 skill perk per piece. Interesting.
Okay.
I'm
added
not sure how general performance improvements and visual artifacts are for visual artifacts and graphic settings. Super. Dyes are now removed from items upon trade with a warning message present. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The time to declare war timer now visually pauses to make it clear when an invasion is imminent, but not yet scheduled.
That's useful.
Yes, so that's huge. Territory remains in a conflict state after invasions.
That is critical as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's been multiple times where we've seen like invasions basically clear out a conflict state after the invasion kind of winds out. And that's always a real point of contention for people, because you look at it from the side of somebody who's spent a good deal of time and effort to sort of put that particular territory into a conflict state, right? You put that into state, you feel like you've achieved something. Obviously it's not 100% in that kind of sense. You still have to do the 50 on 50, but you're at the point where you can actually contend in that kind of sense. And then if an invasion suddenly springs up and lands on it, all that work up until this point in time is kind of undone. So now that the territory remains in a conflict state after invasions, it means that all that work that people have kind of put in, it doesn't basically get nullified, which is great, because that actually means that you don't feel like your work has been pointless, which is great. That's exactly what you want. You want people to feel like that when they've invested time in doing something, that they actually get something from it.
Before we hit the general bug fixes, I want to remind people, please, if you're enjoying the content, if you're finding it valuable, please hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button. We really do appreciate any support. I am watching all of these go through, and of course our thing is probably 3 dozen names behind. But again, I want to thank all of you guys. It really does. It really is cool to see. So, bug first and foremost on the bug list.
Yes.
Fixed issues with the T4 and T5 Azoth staffs. Go close those high-level portals. Thank God. That's... yes. Nice. Level 60s rejoice. You now have, all kinds of stuff. And Merkgard is now much, much nicer to roll through, and you can close the portals and all of that. And instead of them just infinitely spawning and murking people as you go through. So I'll believe this when I see it. Fixed an issue causing the abandoned event notification to persist. You know what? That one I'll believe when I see. Yeah, that's been an ongoing problem. Fixed a housing UI issue. The UI will now correctly show the property taxes are subject to the full price of the home and not impacted by the first-time home buyer discount. So that's actually a big change there. Fixed issues with early game spawning. The Watchtower respawn point is replaced by the settlement after it has been discovered. Players no longer incorrectly respawn at the Watchtower after selecting to respawn at the settlement. I've personally had that happen to me, so I actually really appreciate that. Let me quick grab this again here.
Yeah, there you go.
Fixed various localization issues throughout the game. Fixed an issue where not all items for town projects were consumed when completing the mission. Resolved login errors that prevented players from accessing their character. Fixed an issue that caused arena keys to not drop as intended. Fixed an issue that caused the runic bear armor to not be appropriately dyed during wars. Darn, that's the armor set I used. So was going through wars consistently without being dyed blue or red. Fixed a pet placement issue. Pets placed in an otherwise empty house now remain in the home after the player logs out instead of returning the pet to the player's inventory.
I mean,
it wanted to come with.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not a bug. That's a feature.
Yeah.
Let's see here. AP Southeast servers now display the correct time zone in game. Hey, great. That's what we want. Fixed an issue with titles. Player titles and achievements now appear as intended, and the achievement tab properly updates when a new achievement is earned. Awesome. Fixed an issue that caused company invites to persist after accept and decline. That one's a really annoying one. This is a comical one. I ran into this, and almost all of my guys ran into this. Fixed an issue where Raja respawns to stack forever.
Yeah.
Like you would still complete the quest because you would like crouch and like walk up to the thing you needed to collect, and then you crouch back down and step away. But if you triggered it, you were definitely going to die because there was hundreds of them.
Yeah, they were just like it would just stream out like it was that infinite sort of propagating kind of like error, like a dialogue box that you would sometimes see on like on a like an erroring Windows machine. It was kind of like that. Like it just like propagated out like hundreds of big cats.
Mm-hmm. So the fixes listed below are tentative fixes and mitigations. Our goal is to get these changes out and see if issues persist. So we can continue to work on them and address any future updates. So these might be fixed, they might not be fixed. Continue to report these bugs to the forums. Worked on a fix worked to fix an issue where wars and invasions kicked off earlier than scheduled. That's a weird one. Worked to fix an issue where not all settlement stations upgrade as intended when town projects are completed. And the last one, players should no longer become stuck when entering or exiting an instance. If a player reconnects and their character is dead, the respawn screen is open with respawn options available. Players who are currently stuck need to contact customer support to have their character unstuck. Awesome. So, those are the notes that we got. Unfortunately, I didn't see any mention of Outpost Rush, but maybe this has something to do with it. We'll find out when this goes live. there's a
Okay.
decent amount in here, and naturally, uh, you know, downtime is going to be tomorrow. I'm assuming that they've probably put up a forum post by now. So let's. There's no new post yet. That's okay.
Yeah. Never mind.
um, I'm assuming they'll tell us
That was.
exactly, when the downtime is going to be. I don't know if they mentioned it in here or not.
Imagine it's probably going to be about the same time. Although hopefully they prioritize getting the European time zone servers fixed
Oh, it's going to
first.
start rolling out
Um,
late tonight.
oh, right, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
New World Update will release at 10 p.m., 5 a.m. UTC on October 19th. That's today.
Yeah,
In what, 8 hours? 7 hours? 6 hours?
5 UTC.
Yeah,
That'll be in 5 hours.
5 hours. Okay,
Yeah, 5 hours and 8 minutes.
awesome. So we're gonna get downtime in 5 hours. Super.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm sure Reddit will be all abuzz with that. Um,
Wow, they dropped that. That's interesting because they dropped it so early that we were like, oh crap, we had to divert
did they
from
did they
our usual
accidentally?
stuff.
Oh, look at good catch.
What?
Good catch. Check this out. So they've got all kinds of stuff to the shop that I don't think they intended to release. Great
Wait, what?
catch. So featured deals, consumables, emotes, armor skins, weapon skins, housing items, tool skins, camp skins were
Ooh,
two things that are not currently on the list that I didn't know they were gonna do. So hey, that's cool. Camp skins could
yeah,
be fun. I appreciate that. So
that's pretty nice.
yeah, should I buy all of the refining components from the shop? Now might be a good time to invest. If they haven't, if your servers haven't already bought them all out, because they're about to get much more rare. Uh, yeah, if there's still a penny a piece, buy 1,000 of them. You're gonna need them. Any news on Outpost Rush? They didn't name it specifically, but at the very bottom here, they
Yeah,
mentioned
I
an
was
issue where
thinking
players
that
would get stuck entering and exiting an
an
instance.
instance.
I feel like that's related to Outpost Rush, but I don't know for sure. Um,
Yeah, because like the thing is like when it comes to like being in the queue for Outpost Rush, that literally doesn't affect your gameplay. You queue up like you would queue up, you know.
yeah.
Like it's essentially like almost in the same way as like entering a dungeon, right? You get the pop-up saying like you can enter the dungeon, but you have to press a button in order to actually do so, right? So very much in the same way, when you queue up for Outpost Rush, you go up and you queue up, and it doesn't pull you into like a holding pattern in any way, shape, or form straight away. But when a game is ready and there's enough players to to set one up, it'll pop up and kind of say that an Outpost Rush match is ready to go, and to click a button to get in. And obviously, people, the situation that people were getting stuck on was when they hit that button, they would enter a loading screen and it would just be an infinite loading screen and they couldn't get out of it. So, in my mind, that is a loading into an instance situation. And if they're saying that players should no longer become stuck when entering or exiting an instance, like that should relate to uh, Outpost Rush. So fingers crossed on Outpost Rush working after the patch, is all said and done. But we never know. Like they haven't expressly said that, so it might not be.
Mm-hmm. Just because I saw this in chat, they are working on a fix for Wars. They added in some back end changes to help the team investigate what's going on with client performance in wars. So
Hmm.
that's actually, it is being worked on. It is something that there is an active effort in. Um, but obviously, like, they might not have narrowed down exactly what it is. So, what about war
Yeah.
exploits? We actually talked about that earlier too.
Yes.
Let me find the
They
show
know
notes
about
so that I
it.
can open
They're
that
they're
again.
working on it.
Um,
It isn't
don't
something in this particular
exploit.
patch.
Do not
Yeah,
use
and don't do it.
exploits. Our top priority with any bugs and exploits that come up is to solve the problem as quickly as possible. If there are folks out there abusing a bug or exploit, we will make sure that they are handled by moderation. So, you know, if you
Yeah.
know people who are abusing it, they're gonna get caught. You know, this is what reports are for. You know, they are, according to Amazon, and I'm gonna get shit for this one. According to Amazon, all reports are handled. All reports and bans are handled by a person.
Whether
Putting
that
that out there,
person does it correctly or not.
and I'm sure that I triggered at least somebody. I'm just waiting for it. Uh, you know,
Oh God.
yeah. So again, you know, we'll touch on that a little bit later because we've got much more content to cover. Um,
Yeah.
you know, we'll continue to post the patch notes for people because hey, there's a good amount here. Explains the server transfers really well as shows off a lot of the a lot of the information that is important for this. So with that, we're going to move on to
Yes.
our next topic. And by our next topic, I mean our prior topic. And I'm going to
I mean,
remember to use
we're
my
close to
stream
being
marker
finished
here.
at that. We were close to being finished at that. I think that was because it was the Q
Yeah.
and A.
Well, I mean, there's
Because
a
it
little
was.
bit left here. Um, so why did we make character and company names global if we can't transfer across regions? Um, as mentioned, they are actively working on transferring between regions right now. So having global names will prevent some confusion that otherwise would have occurred. Companies also will be able to transfer uh, after the last person leaves the company on the origin server. The name becomes available. Uh, this is being delivered with the character transfers, which we just saw.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Unfortunately, no known fixed outpost rush yet. That not that we've seen. Let me.
They haven't expressly said it.
Sorry, had to shoot somebody a message there.
Oh, right, okay. I was wondering whether you muted
Um,
yourself
can you
or not
explain what
on
Outpost
Discord.
Rush is? Outpost Rush is 20v20 instanced combat. It's basically domination, only you also build up the bases. They have siege equipment on them and various other side objectives where the goal is to get to 1,000 points first, or be the team that gets to 1,000 points first. It's really cool and
Yep.
engaging content. Legitimately, it's the content that I'm looking forward to playing.
Oh yeah.
Again,
It's
I
going to
want to
have
clarify something because there's a lot of people that keep saying, "I love your game." I love. We are not developers. We do not
No.
work for Amazon. We are in the creator program, um, and we have had sponsored streams in the past from them, and they have provided us a number of assets that you might have seen on the stream so far. But
Mm-hmm.
we are not Amazon Game Studio staff by any means,
Yep.
so I want to make sure that's clear. That said, because we are content creators, we do this, as kind of a side gig. Both of us have full-time jobs and all that. Any support that you guys give us goes right back into the stream in terms of developing new content, ensuring that we have quality equipment, maybe getting a camera that can figure out how to autofocus. Uh, you know,
Yes.
it's okay. It's only like a $700 camera. It should be able to fure out where I am. But uh,
You would
you
think.
know, So again, we do see this. Thank you guys a lot for the follows and for all the subs. Like legit, it really does help out. Also, quick shout out to our Patreons. Thank you guys. It really does help, and you guys make the world work. So, thank you. So from here, there's a few more things, and then we've got an entire another topic that's probably going to take even longer. Like, we still have a lot of content for this show. So, can you open the window of when you can transfer for longer, so that if you do not unlock the locked servers, it gives people a chance to get in? Tokens are on your account permanently until they're used. One-time use token, and it's one per account, not per character, per account. Yes. So, there is no window for transfer. You can do it at any time, which is also why, again, we've said in the past, and we'll say this over and over again, it's great to use that transfer, but use it with caution. Take a couple of extra days and be like, hey, is this actually where I want to transfer to? Maybe you guys want to decide to move to another server that might have a lower population, or move off of a server that's wildly imbalanced, faction-wise, and things like that. Like, there is some interplay there that is worth watching how servers develop over the next few days. If we own a region on our current server, will that affect our ability to delete the guild if deleting the guild is required? No, you can still remove all members from a company that owns a territory. It's interesting that they don't describe how the process works for that. I'm wondering if it just drops back to a buy state.
Well, we have an additional couple of things that were actually included as emergency fixes.
As emergency, do tell.
Yes, the defy death invulnerability issue. It apparently has been fixed.
Nice.
Hopefully, it won't be. Hopefully it won't be. This has been fixed in the same way that, like, don't worry, guys. The leaving leaving an area kind of pop up has been fixed, because that hasn't been fixed clearly. But hopefully this one has. So yeah. So there's also obviously taxes are not going into the controlling company's treasury has been fixed, as well as penalty. I'm not entirely certain quite what they're talking about here, but penalty length now returns the correct time length for the penalty. I think maybe somebody might have been. Oh, right. This is updating literally as I'm looking at it.
Where are you finding this?
Which is funny. It is by Luxendra. Oh, thank you. It's linked in the chat. It's literally updating as I'm looking at it. It's hilarious.
In which chat?
Yeah, so it's like a penalty length for suspensions and bans now return the correct time length for the penalty.
Wait, which
that's
chat?
That's what that was.
We've got 42. Oh, never mind. So here's the thing: our Discord has so many channels in it that
It was linked by Crown, so I linked that. I sent it to you as a PM.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Holding and dragging around the client while in windowed mode to constantly trigger invulnerability. Okay,
yeah,
then.
That's a
creative one.
That was the one that was basically causing people to to win wars, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
That was the same one.
Interesting. Penalty length for suspensions and bans now returns the correct time length for the penalty. Nice. Very nice.
That was the one that, like, as I said it, it changed, and I was like, oh, okay, now this makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I was hoping for Outpost Rush fixes, but it doesn't look like they made it in this patch. But it would not surprise me if they had, some, relatively quick updates or potentially client-side updates to fix any issues. Um, you know, yeah. Basically, I think right now they're probably. I would assume it was an all hands on deck type thing to deal with the server transfers. And that's a really that's a really time consuming thing. Of course, they're going to continue to work on the regional server transfers, which they've committed to. Um, but I'm assuming they're also gonna start aiming to ensure that they get things like Outpost Rush and other content online as fast as possible. Um, but I'm sure it was not a small lift to get server transfers added in the time frame that they had. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. It's...
All right. With that, we basically hit the bottom of this here.
Mm-hmm. Should probably go into critique.
Critique of are we doing the top 20?
I mean, we probably best do because we've only got like 2 more hours.
All right. So Muggsy posted this on the forums, in that they are attempting to collect the top 20 issues, top 20 player concerns, and they're going to build out a report. But naturally, Reddit decided, hey, we're going to make our own list. So Reddit has identified the top 18, because counting to 20 is difficult. But Reddit has identified. I was just
going through it.
We picked the top.
There were more. The only issue there is like when you actually select prioritize by best. It doesn't prioritize by upvotes, right?
There is 4.1 thousand comments on this thread.
Yes. So you have to kind of go through it and figure out which ones are the most upvoted, which can be quite time consuming. So I did 18, not 20. Sorry.
Yes. So for those that don't know, this is what using Reddit looks like when you're a moderator. You can see a substantial amount more information, additional tools and statistics, as well as some edit features. For instance, I can tell you that 3.3 million views on this. So this is a quite a large number of eyes have been on this. 92% upvoted, and it's been shared via the share button here 819 times. That is a lot of people involved in collecting this. So the number one thing that was voted on here boils down to moderation. With 8.5 thousand upvotes, the issue with people being banned for no reason through mass reporting was the number one concern by raw upvote count. Now, Amazon has said in the past that this is, that it is a manual process. There has been no confirmed confirmation on this, and of course, it's not something that's easy to check because you need a large number of people to do this. Also, there's some inconsistencies here, and I'm not trying to defend them by saying this. What I am trying to say here is that there's some logical inconsistencies. If you're going to create an auto-ban system that relies on mass reporting, you would assume things like several hundred people confirmed reporting the same gold-selling bot in global chat over the course of an hour, that would probably receive a ban, right? Why create a system that only deals with abusive chat and not, RMT? Like
Yeah,
it's those kind of inconsistencies that make for, like, is it a manual process and the manual process has just failed, or that the manual process might not have enough detail in explaining why people actually receive their bans. Um, you know, it could be a mix of a bunch of things. So
yeah,
just putting
exactly.
that out there.
Exactly.
Um, I think that this is something for them to definitely dig into and to find a way for people to further understand.
Yeah,
Um,
but like when you think about it, like that many amount of upvotes, like unless there's been a colossal effort for around a lot of different very organized large groups, right? Like you're not going to hit that unless people are usually unless you're unless you're utilizing that, but then also those people are also utilizing multiple Reddit accounts as well, right? Like so as much as it seems sort of like it's more of a psychological thing than an actual thing. Like there could potentially be something there. I
mhm.
don't know for sure, but like that amount of upvotes, that amount of like community like outcry about it, like I could understand that there could potentially be something there, even though it seems like it's counter to the logic that that we've seen at least.
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm just receiving. It's not normal for me to grab my phone, but when it's my work phone going off in the middle of the night, it's. I work in emergency management, so it's not a casual thing that I have to. I can't just leave it down. I
Oh
have to
God,
actually check.
has Fuerteventura actually fallen into the sea? Is this the thing?
No,
You're
if,
about to
if
get
that if that
tsunamied.
happened, I would get up without stopping the stream, like, because
Oh,
I got places to
okay,
be if that
okay.
happens.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
uh, moving on to the number two, uh, with 8.4 thousand upvotes, healing other players should grant life staff weapon XP, and if that player is engaged in combat, healing them should grant progress towards damage thresholds for credit for the kill. I
There's a
actually
lot
really
there
like
that I
that.
agree with. There's a
Yeah.
lot that I agree with. The only thing that I think is maybe one of the reasons why that's not the case is like you can get in situations where two dudes can literally just sit there, duel up, right, and then like smack each other like with a great axe, and then heal each other, and smack each other, and heal each other, and smack each other, and heal each other, and smack each other, and heal each other. Like you know
I
when
think
like
I
the
think
real
it's
kind of question
more
is like
I
when do
think it's
you
more
get that
aimed at
kind
like
of
getting on the NPC kills.
yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
like it's a case of like where do you actually like where in the process of healing somebody do you actually get like XP.
Um is there actually a legendary
but
drop
but
from dungeons? Yes, there is.
but
It
like
is
on
it
the
is a thing.
whole,
They are rare.
yeah, on the whole though, I do agree with with that suggestion.
Hmm.
Like yeah,
Um
if you're doing the heavy lifting for healing like in a group, then yeah, you definitely should get XP. You definitely should get rewards for that.
mhm. um if you're here for us attacking Asmongold, you're not gonna get that's not our deal.
Yeah, we've already
Like,
covered it anyway. So.
yeah. Um, we made a mistake and got baited by for those that don't understand this. You might not have seen a prior episode, but in a prior episode during a pre-show, we got baited hard by some very poor journalism that we should have known better, and we bit hard on a comment from Asmongold. Um, our
Yeah,
bad.
which was
Yeah.
totally out of context and totally
Mm-hmm.
stripped of like what the original context was with that. Like we
Mm-hmm.
thought he was being sincere and like serious about a point when in actual fact he wasn't. So we jumped to conclusions, and so we said things, and so when he picked that up, he he was perfectly within his rights to say a bunch of things and pull things out of context that we said. It's
Exactly.
totally fine. It's totally fine. It's cool.
Mhm.
We get why he did it. We hopefully he understands that, like, it wasn't us trying to be like, trying to go at him for any particular reasons. We were just like, we were just reacting to some bad journalism, essentially.
Exactly. You know, and we've made some changes to our internal policies because of that. Um,
Yeah.
our internal policies are now that we're not going to talk about another streamer unless they're on the show with us. This will prevent any future, tussles with other streamers, as well
Mm.
as create opportunities for people to come on. Like we'd be more than happy to have Asmongold on. Like, he's an amazing content creator and obviously a significant success. Um, you know, and anybody who says otherwise is crazy. Um, also, as we were completely unaware of this over the last couple of weeks because we're not avid followers of his. We wish him all the best. We know times are not particularly great right now, so best wishes to him. But let's go back to what we were covering before that. The
Yep.
third most upvoted thing from the community, and this is a big one. Weapon swap commands do not queue like attack commands. Um,
Yes, that's
basically,
an issue.
yeah, that's important. You need to actually, when you hit switch weapon, it needs to actually switch weapon. Yeah. Let's see. For 6.9 thousand upvotes, give a reason to join a faction that isn't controlling the majority of the map-server. Faction balance is broken. So faction balance being a major topic there. Um, you know,
Yeah,
that
and
is a
it's kind of
huge one.
difficult
Yeah.
to like this is more of a large scale kind of figuring out quite what faction kind what sort of um, like, adding to the to furthering your faction kind of like gives you um and it's the reason why sort of trying to develop this is a little bit difficult is you want to give meaningful rewards to people so that they feel like that it's not just when you get something it's not just a joke um but you don't want it so uh you know so heavy handed. You don't want to do it in such a heavy handed way that like you end up in a situation where factions are actually colluding in order uh to min max these like these rewards, and that's always an issue because you always have to understand that like you always have to understand that when it comes to these sorts of things, players, the player brain trust within groups, like it is actually fairly colossal. It's amazing how well players will figure out a game or figure out how to min max something, and even with even if there's a situation where you're trying to sort of break that up by using you know like by trying to sort of uh break it with like tribalism, like how tribalism will actually sort of like recoalesce itself to actually allow players to min max something. Like it's oddly uh it's a really interesting kind of scenario, really interesting sort of like social kind of scenario, but yeah, it's also one of those things that like developers have to watch out for because we as players will definitely do that stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So gotta make sure I got the right tab open here.
Hmm.
Fundamentally, the imbalance here is a huge issue. Some servers, we've seen pictures of servers where Syndicate owns the entire map. We're fortunately on a server that is actually really balanced. Um, I think Syndicate might be a little bit on the weaker end, but I think that they're definitely getting better and becoming more of a power on the server. But like,
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
a pretty even spread in ownership.
I
So,
definitely have my own idea as to how to sort of combat that kind of stuff, but unfortunately, it also involves a lot more other systems, coming into it, and like it would be quite the rewrite. Let's put it that way.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's see,
It's
6.4 thousand upvotes. The auction house UI. It's so hard to keep track of sold items and offers. The
mhm.
sort by time column would be very helpful already. I'm kind of
If it
sad that
wasn't.
Amazon, the biggest online marketplace, made such a bad auction house system. I love the game, but playing the auction house game is very hard due to its UI. That's a direct quote.
Oh, the irony. Oh, that's so beautiful. I think a lot of people just like loved that post just out of how it was worded.
Yes.
But yes, yeah, the also sort by time column is also a little bit of an awkward thing because it sorts it based on it doesn't sort it based on the actual amount of seconds that the time is, uh, like broken down to. Like, if you have something that's 1 minute to go, and something that has like 15 minutes to go, and then something that has like 3 minutes to go, it'll be 1:15 and then three, because it's literally looking at the first number of that, and essentially listing it like that, which is just it's just not good.
Absolutely.
They need to break that down, and list it properly,
Hmm.
amongst all sorts of other things that they need to do with the auction house UI.
Exactly.
Like I want a history. I want a history of stuff that I've put up for sale, whether it has sold or whether it hasn't, because I'm fairly certain that doesn't exist.
There aren't enough skins for the same level wolf mob you encounter at level 4. You know what? I think that there does need to be a little bit more variety in. Once you get to the higher levels, you can see more of the different like skins and all of that. And of course, the AI also changes as you level up. So like fighting a level 5 wolf is very different than fighting a level 60 wolf that is jumping around like it's got pogo sticks for legs. And like precursor level dodging bullets. Um, you know, like it's a different experience. But yeah, I think they could potentially use a little bit more variety on the skinning for the wolves at the lower levels to make it feel a little bit more immersive, and add a little bit more variety for the low level players. Um,
So you have to be careful what you wish for there, because like if you're kind of sort of saying that, like, um you know that if you're trying to say that, you know that these wolves can dodge bullets, you never know if a developer will be like, no, what we're trying to say is when they're ready they won't even have to.
yeah, yeah.
I hope you get the
And
reference
as
there.
like as you get to the higher levels, the mob variety does there is a lot more variety because like you get things like ebb and scale reach, which has its own massive quantity of um, it's got its own entire set of enemies. Sure, they're all corrupted, but they all have custom move sets and all of that based around a combination of martial arts that they studied to put into the game. Uh, all of the art based on that, so it's actually really kind of cool. But I think everybody can admit, especially the early game pre 20 or
Yeah,
pre 30 even. Like once you get into Brightwood, like you start seeing a lot more of the diversity, but there is a
yeah, it
lot
gets a little bit
of
more
a lot of
diverse.
the same in the lower levels.
I feel like the Puma kind of sort of um aggro kind of animations and like the various different stuff for that. Like I feel like that doesn't really change much at all, um, which is unfortunate
Hmm.
because you know high level pumas should be an absolute should be crazy to sort of take on, but they're kind of not. It's only when you kind of get to sort of like the you know um the lions and that kind of stuff, that's when it gets like a little on the tricky side.
Absolutely. Um, so let's see, what's the next one here? 5.1 thousand upvotes. I would love a
Hmm.
loadout section in the inventory so you can switch
Yes.
between outfits. Um, would love to effortlessly change to my fishing or mining gear quickly. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Um,
Because right now you have the locking system that you can kind of set up a different loadout, but like the other thing is when you're swapping and changing, like you don't know which you have to be very cognizant of which ones are one set, which ones are the other set. Like, but like if you have like multiple sets and that kind of thing, like it can get very confusing.
mhm.
And if you're not using the locking system to sort of kind of almost sort of you know tag gear sets and stuff that you want to keep, like if you're not using that, then it gets even more confusing.
Absolutely. Um,
Yeah, but yeah, I really want that too.
so with 4.9 thousand upvotes, and I would have assumed that this would have been higher. Um,
Yeah, I actually would have.
I'm really
I'm
surprised this wasn't higher up on the list.
I'm actually surprised that this wasn't a thing. Like,
Yeah. There's currently no quest sharing. I want to play with my friends, not do different things at the same time with my friends. I think that that is incredibly good feedback. Um,
yes,
and like I love the idea of being able to like select a quest as a party and complete the objectives of that quest as a party. I
yeah,
think
and
that's huge.
yeah, very much so.
Absolutely. That's big. That's big stuff right there. Um, let's see what else we got here. 3.9 thousand
It's fixed.
upvotes.
It's fixed. It's
Wait,
fixed though.
what?
It's
What?
fixed.
What's fixed?
The Azor stuff bug that's been blocking us from doing level 55
Yes.
portals.
Oh, yep.
It'll be fixed.
Yep.
We just have to
Azov
wait five
staff.
and a half hours. So
Yes. That'll be fixed tomorrow. Fixed tomorrow. So looking forward to that. That opens up a ton of content for the level 60s.
yeah.
Makes it so Murkguard is much more acceptable, or much easier to run. Adds a lot more content up there. Um, of course, all level, tier 4 and tier 5 staffs were not working because they were bugged. So this would be a huge move forward. Um, so this is even a meme on the subreddit. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but like we even have the pop up that is just stuck there. I don't know what happened, but 3,000 upvotes. The upcoming war invasion pop up on the map. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, when I click it to go away, I don't need it back the next time.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, that is true.
make it like a small icon next to it or something. Like we get it, it's there, but like it takes up a ton of the map.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So T4 and T5 staffs are going to be working tomorrow post patch. Um,
Hmm.
Patch notes are out. I want to quick thank the follows and subscribers. You guys are awesome. I just saw I'm continuing to see the crazy amount of follows come in. It is
Thank you very
really
much.
appreciated, guys. It really is.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Um, how about this 2.7K upvotes. More character stats displayed by like luck, crit chance, like crit damage, that kind of thing. Crit damage you can kind of work out. Like crit damage is basically just your raw damage. Like critical strikes are essentially strikes that like damage strikes that ignore you know that ignore essentially the enemy, the hostile player's armor, and armor mitigation basically eats up a bunch of that damage. So crit damage is essentially your max damage essentially for that weapon.
Given
Crit chance and luck, that kind of thing, that would be interesting to have on, but like I don't want it to be like super accurate, if you know what I mean. There should be a degree of not quite telling you the precise amount, but I think that it should be somewhere.
absolutely. Give us the inside information. Will we see updated content before the end of 2021? If I
I think
knew,
so.
I wouldn't be allowed to talk about it without violating, some kind of NDA. But what we do know is that there are, zones that have leaked and weapons that have leaked that are highly likely to be added at some point in the future. That some of them have been actually pretty close to playable. For instance, there was a video out there that showcased the Void Gauntlet at one point that
Very briefly.
has since been taken down. But I believe daggers and the blunderbuss were also focused on that video.
Yeah.
We also, through lore and through various other means, know that another area referred to as Brimstone Sands is in development, and should be a reference to the 19th Legion per the lore page, which is a reference to the Roman legions, which is actually what our company is based on. The 9th Legion, which is the legion that straight up went missing, and nobody knows what happened to him still. If you're interested in playing with us on the Paralysis server, please join the Discord. Even if you're not interested in playing with us on the Paralysis server and you just want to chat about New World, you want to chat about the art of New World, we've got all of the original concept art on there that has ever been made public, and we have of course a ton of people that love New World and just want to chat about it. So feel free to join the Discord, and of course follow, subscribe. We love you guys. Like, you're the reason we've been doing this for a year and 10 months, almost 11 months now. And it really is cool to have the opportunities to do this. So, let's see, what's our next one?
This is one that annoys me as well.
I'll let you cover this one.
Yeah. So with 2,500 upvotes, approximately. Maps not showing the correct town levels, so like the levels for like your furnaces, or sort of your stone cutting, that kind of thing, like essentially all of those, like a lot of if you look at the map, like when you're actually in a particular place, like a lot of them will not show the actual level, especially like level 5s for whatever reason.
Yeah, I've actually run into that a couple of times. It's supposed to update, but something happens where like it's not taking into account changes from like lost invasions or lost wars. Hopefully a fix for that comes in soon, because that would actually be really helpful, because there's nothing quite like burning all of your Azoth, bringing all of your stuff to a new city just to find out that the station you were planning on using is actually a level lower than it's supposed to be. Yeah. So, having run into that a number of times, that is definitely a thing that that we want to push.
Yes. I mean, it just wastes people's time, though. Like that's the thing that that annoys me. It wastes people's time. But I think the next one is probably, and it's related to something else that we've said, like a little further up. But like, I think it's also one that's really, really worthwhile.
1.8 thousand upvotes. The enemy respawn rate in some areas feels incredibly too fast. You can wipe out a room in ruined tower, loot the two chests, but get interrupted during the second chest by the two skeletons at the door who I just killed 30 seconds ago, and then the one on the steps leading up to the next floor will somehow
I
aggro me as I'm defending myself. Maybe it's just me, but I feel a little bit ridiculous sometimes. I feel like I'm getting swarmed too often when I'm taking it
I
too slow and looting a landmark.
almost feel I know where this is, and I almost feel like it's a certain place in Morningdale that annoys me as well in that kind of sense. But like, I do kind of feel that there's certain points where you kind of do want to tone it up, tone it down a little bit. Like, I think it needs to be a little bit more dynamic in terms of the spawn rate.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's one of those things where you know you have to kill the particular mobs there, you know, fast enough in order to not, you know, continually get aggro and be sort of stuck in a situation. And I do feel for him, like, but that is I think that's the situation where you're taking on stuff a little higher level than you are at the moment, and kind of getting a little bit caught on the respawn, which does
Mm-hmm.
suck. But I don't know. I kind of feel like it is worthwhile as a game mechanic.
Absolutely.
Um,
Uh,
it just needs to be
let's
tuned a bit better, I think.
yeah. Let's see. 1.6 thousand upvotes. For us crafters, can we get the ability to see details about recipes we already know without being at a crafting table? I'd like to see the actual recipe and be able to search for it, sort my known recipes, etc. We need an actual UI around this so that basically when you're on the go and you're like, oh, I need to build this thing, but I'm way away from town, want to
Or
be
you're
able to
like, oh
see what the
shit, what was
recipe
that?
actually is.
Or you're like, oh shit, what did I need again for that particular recipe?
Yeah.
Like,
Did
you're
I
like,
need
oh crap,
weird
well
wood
I
or did
can't.
I need weird wood planks? You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
was it weirdwood planks or ironwood planks that I needed? I'm sure it was
yeah.
weirdwood. Like, you know, but you know, instead of just checking it like in the UI, like right there and then, you have to run all the way back and then check it and then be like, oh no, I was right all along initially. Like,
Mm-hmm. Um, so 1.6 thousand upvotes again. Um, being able to filter gear by stats on the marketplace, or allow us to search for suffixes like of the sage or of the warrior and so on. Because those obviously
yeah,
have a set of perks, or not perks, but
yeah,
attributes
well, yeah,
associated
your
with them.
attributes. So,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things. Like, that's also one of the things that I'm always like looking, you know, on the marketplace for, like, you know, particular weapons with particular attributes, right? And you know, yeah, being able to look for a particular, um, you know, for a particular suffix would be amazing
Mm-hmm. Um, I
because
want to take a
that does
short
get you in that
moment.
area.
I want to take a short moment and congratulate one of our YouTube editors who just came on board. He just had a kid, and
Oh,
we just got pictures of him in our moderation channel. So, um,
oh, fantastic!
great experience, and happy to see the family growing for you. Um,
Nice, nice. Congrats, dude.
Congratulations, absolutely. All right, so back to this. 1.4 thousand upvotes. Schematics not showing if you know them or not. Um, that's yes.
That would
That's
be
kind of a
nice,
big
yeah,
one.
because yeah, that would be really, really nice.
1.2 thousand upvotes. Lack of in-game company functionality, i.e., no company bank. There is a company
Yes.
bank.
Well, there is, yeah, there is
No
a company
custom
bank,
roles
but
or names. There are 2 roles that you can give out, and they're somewhat customizable. You can turn on and off the different things for those different levels. But I agree with the sentiment here.
yeah, there's a lot of aspects of company functionality that are kind of broken at the moment. Like the one, you know, the one that really sort of annoys the hell out of me is, like, you know, putting together message of the day for the company. If you hit any of the keyboard shortcuts for any of the windows, while you're typing that, it just pulls you straight out of it,
Yes.
and it doesn't save what you've done at that particular point. You can't copy and paste into it. Like it's literally the most aggravating thing, because like, if anything, the only thing that I would love to just put in there is a Discord, link, right? So
Hmm.
people can get into the Discord for the company and get kind of situated and connected with, like, all of the information that we have for the company, and all that kind of all that jazz, right? But like, fundamentally, I can't even do that. I can't even
Hmm.
type in, like, even if it wasn't a link, like, even if it was something that you had to like select and copy and paste somewhere else, in order to actually run the link and connect to the Discord. Like, you can't even get to the point where you can put the Discord link in, or put the Discord type in the Discord link. Like, you can't even get to that point, which really annoys me. But like, there's other aspects of the company kind of UI that is kind of screwed up. um you know, Unfortunately, yeah, there is a company bank, there are custom roles, and you can't really name like custom roles with names, but like, it'd be nice if you could. Um,
Hmm.
what the roles are allowed to do. Oh, the roles are there set, but you can choose as to whether a particular role has that ability
Hmm.
to do that.
I also
But
think
like,
that
yeah.
things like having additional functionality about tracking the company bank on
Mm,
withdrawals, deposits, etc., so that like,
yeah,
hey,
a
this
history.
person's donated this amount of money, like, so that there's a history, so
Yeah.
you can see where your money's going, so people aren't just taking off with it. Um,
Yeah,
let's
there's some,
see.
and having a history of that, like, of those things, would be great. Yeah. This 18 was quite sizable.
Mm-hmm. 18. Yeah, this one's a huge one. Um, so 1.2 thousand upvotes. Trade Hub UI and better search functions everywhere. Add more search options to the Trading Hub. Maybe I'm looking for any armor slot, heavy with focus. Let
Yeah,
me sort and exclude more. Um, Let me sort sold on time, based on time. I want to know what sold the most recently, how long the buy order was up for. The wait 5 seconds, then auto changes the price. Needs the overhaul when selling. Yes, auto changing the price to 100 gold if there's nothing there is actually kind of a pain.
yeah,
Also, the auto change where it adapts to the most recent price could be
it's
done a
annoying.
little bit faster. Um, Especially if you're trying to list many things at one time. It's a little bit of lag that could be improved.
It also has this annoying functionality of pulling in um something quite close to what you're trying to sell, but not what you're trying to sell. Yeah, and it's kind of like, oh, this is the price for for these that have sold, or being sold at the moment. It's like, well, mine isn't that. So clearly
Yeah,
that pricing is
yeah,
is irrelevant for what I'm
yeah.
trying to do.
I'm listing an
And
epic,
I
and
hate
the
that.
the one that it's quoting the price for is a common. You know,
Yeah.
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 It's like that's not balanced. Like that's not what that's gonna sell for.
Yeah.
um, so let's see what else here. When selling things, the 4 items
For sale.
for sale is not helpful. I might have a best in slot epic proc, but the window shows me you can find these gray versions for 2 coins. Uh,
Yeah, what we were saying, basically. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. General speed up of trading place. Everything takes so long. It shouldn't take 5 seconds to load the other items for sale when I try and post something. I agree that does take quite a while. Um,
Yeah.
you know, um, legit just look
Hey,
at
if
TSM
if
for
it's
WoW and rip some stuff off.
I
You know what?
mean, to
Don't
some
reinvent the
degree, if
wheel.
it's
You
not,
know, if it works, it
yeah,
works.
if it works, don't reinvent the wheel. But like, obviously, if it does require a bit of tuning up and a bit of additional stuff, like, yeah, maybe get on that.
Hmm.
The additional the people are crying. It's fairly clear that people are crying out for additional functionality on the trading post. So
Absolutely. Um,
inventory, just
Inventory. Yeah.
inventory.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um,
I'll let you take the next two here.
oh, okay. Add search on item descriptions. I have about a bajillion, quintillion crafting mods. I don't know the name of the luck one, so let me just search for luck and show me anything with luck as a trait. Yes, yeah, that is awkward and annoying trying to get through the lexicon of the game, um, specifically when you're trying to sort of sell things or buy things, um, as well as just trying to find certain things. And gear sets. And obviously this is linked back to one of the previous ones that we did. You the comment is you obviously have made it so that you want players to have a harvest set, a mining set, DPS set, and a luck set. But the micromanagement of this is too much. So we need to have a wardrobe. We need to have like this is beyond what's said here, but like I kind of feel like we need to have containers to place items in, um, in order to separate out gear sets. That would be fantastic. Something like that.
Hmm. This was
But
asked
yeah.
in chat, but it's worth answering again
Oh yeah, yeah.
in the actual thing here. We are not developers. We don't work for Amazon
No.
Game Studio. We are supported by Amazon Game Studio in a number of ways, including some of the assets that you've seen on stream. We're part of the creator program. Um, on all those things. Simply put, we are well connected. We have been able to ask them questions. We have been able to know certain things. Like for instance, understanding that we were going to get patch notes during our show today.
And it came
Things
super early.
like that, and they came during the early part of our show, which is much appreciated. Uh,
Yeah.
you
Was
know,
not
uh,
expecting that.
yes. So, um, not developers, although we have also been around in the community for a very long time. This show has been going on for the last year and 11 months, so we're almost at the point of 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Creating content for specifically New World. And before that, we've been involved in the game since early Alpha 1.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's a big one. Those are the 18 major ones. There's some smaller ones that were mentioned, but a lot of them were repeats. But that's what Reddit was able to determine through upvotes and downvotes were the primary ones to be fixed. Two that I would add to that list would
Mm-hmm.
be Outpost Rush, please fix soon.
Yes. Yes.
And I believe they fixed the issues with some of the invulnerability stuff that was happening.
Yeah.
But the lag in sieges needs a look. They are implementing some background stuff to try and monitor for what's going on and determine what's going on the client side that's causing it. That was part of the patch notes, and that is actually very important. But also, as part of the patch notes, is server transfers, which is huge. They, for now, are going to be specific to the region you're in. However, they are working on functionality to bring that back over and enable you to transfer between region. That's an in-progress thing because obviously it's different between within region and external to the region. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Aside from that, there was obviously we had the patch notes, we had a bunch of other things, and there are people who have been very patiently waiting for us to talk about the overlays and out-of-game maps.
I see some interesting things like with regards to those. Like
there
I
is a
think someone actually had
lot
like
of
a
inconsistency depending on who you ask on this one.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so uh, I'd love to say that we have a definitive answer, but as of now, the answer that has been from Amazon in terms of replies directly to the thread uh, related to overlays is that they are not to be used. Um, that said, there seems to be a lot of confusion, and I would assume that we'll get additional clarification from that soon.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like, how far how far are you, are we going with regards to overlays? Like, is using the Discord overlay so I can see who's like talking, yeah, in chat while I'm in game. Is that, over the line? Or, or is the sort of overwolf kind of one where it tracks your movements on a map kind of thing? Like, or is that, because I kind of feel like, one isn't, but the other one quite likely is. Um, but we don't really have a definitive kind of answer for that. So
See,
yeah,
I've got a
it's
map
awkward.
printed out right next to me, so like you know,
You could just turn around and be like,
like
oh, I think I'm
it's
there.
over
Yeah,
here,
that's the one.
and you go up that way. you
Yes.
know, like functionally speaking, what's the difference between me drawing on a map where all of the iron nodes are and having an overlay that puts that map, as part of my screen? Um, I think that
So
there's
if we can,
arguments both ways, um,
yeah.
but functionally, we will find out more. This is something that's going to be a reoccurring topic for next week's show. For those that don't know, we run shows on Tuesday nights. The pre-show starts at 6 o'clock, which is much more casual and occasionally gets us into deep trouble. Um, and then from there, our normal show starts at 7
Uh,
Eastern time, p.m., which generally also includes the patch notes, as they generally release at about the same time.
well, in the middle of the show / near the end, typically. But
Yes.
yeah,
Allows us to prepare some content for the front half while any time
having
frame
some gotcha
happens.
moments at the end.
Yeah. Um, yes. So if you're looking for this map, please come
Hmm.
join the Discord server. It's in there. It's in the community resources, as well as the entire Shadow Gallery is available, which is basically everything that's been released publicly for New World, including a whole bunch of stuff that you probably haven't seen.
Including some very historical stuff that isn't really available anywhere else, I think.
That said, hey, thank you guys. Want to again say, if you like the content, hit the follow button. If you really like it, hit the subscribe button. And we hope to see you in future episodes.
Hmm.
Because obviously we are a growing channel. We are incredibly happy with the number of people that we're getting. We're very happy with the support that we receive from NewWorldFans.com. And again, suggest people check out New World Fans, as they're an amazing site that has a lot of detail and a lot of passion went into creating that site and maintaining that site. So
Yeah,
again, props to
yeah.
them, or props to us. We're part of that team, so um,
But props to them. Props to Redbird, Bordy, and Taken for
absolutely.
putting that all together, because that is a Herculean effort. The amount of stuff that they put together there, and you should definitely check that out. It's got a lot of really cool things, a lot of really cool guides, a lot of really cool breakdowns for things. So yeah,
Yep.
it's a
If
good
you haven't
source of
seen it
info.
before, this is what it looks like. Um, for those wondering, this is also why the numbers appear a little bit different. Um, For those unaware, embedding on Twitch is a thing where you can embed on fan sites and other locations, which increases the number of viewers that show up. And it is an accepted practice by Twitch. So for those wondering or curious about like if we're view botting or anything like that, this is the site that we are referring viewers over to, newworldfans.com, and they're graciously allowing us the exposure to people surfing their site, so as their live event content. So they also have guides, database information, weapon builds, you name it. So it's a great site to go to. And with that,
you should definitely check it out.
Make sure to check that out. Make sure to check out the Discord. And again, we wouldn't be doing this without you guys. Thank you for everything you do, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the new world.